With all the things we've built and tried so far, we haven't covered the most important one. We never transferred our project to actual panel. Let's fix it. In Panel Builder with project opened, go to Run, Download to Target. After compilation process, software will show a small pop-up window where you either put IP address of the panel or select it from the drop-down list. In this case, Panel Builder detects that there is a panel in the same network with the PC and show its name and IP address. If you hit download, the process starts, and in a few moments you will have your project loaded to the panel. That's it, problem solved. See you guys in the next one. What? You don't know the IP address of your panel? Okay, get your fingers ready. We have some tapping to do. So, jokes aside, how do you get panel's IP address? For that, we would need to go into panel's runtime loader. Power up the panel, and when you see ABB logo, start tapping anywhere on the screen. Then you will see this blue menu on top. You select menu items by either holding a finger on the screen or by taking it away. Make sure System Settings item is selected, and then just wait until it enters default mode. Eventually, you will get to Runtime Loader screen where you can see panel's IP address. What if you're not happy with current address? Well, you can go to System Settings where you'll be asked to enter credentials, and that's not that credentials we've set in security settings of Panel Builder. You don't have this login and password, do you? Well, then we have to reset the panel to factory settings. Repeat the same procedure with tapping on the screen, but this time, instead of going in default mode, select Device Restore. The panel will start wiping itself up. In a minute or so, you will see already familiar Runtime Loader screen. Since we have erased all the settings, this time you will not see IP address. So let's go to System Settings and set one. Panel will ask us to set passwords for two users, user and admin. Keep in mind that there are some complexity requirements described on the right. When passwords are set, Panel will reboot back to Runtime Loader. Go to System Settings again, put admin as the username and the password you've just created. And you're inside Panel's System Settings. IP settings, which we came for, are located in Network section. Here you can see Panel's hostname as well as IP settings under Network Interfaces. Totally, there are settings for ETH0, 1, and 2, which matches Panel's physical Ethernet ports. ETH0 is connected to the PC with Panel Builder. ETH1 and 2 are freely available. To change IP address, you must press Edit in the top right corner. First thing, we disable automatic IP assignment with external DHCP server. Then set desired IP address 192.168.0.11 and IP network mask 255.255.255.0. Press Save on top of the screen and you will hear Panel making series of beeps followed by the message that the new address is set. And while we're here in System menu, why don't we make a quick tour of available settings? But instead of Panel screen, let's use my PC and the web browser. Put panel's IP followed by /machine_config in the search bar and hit enter. Browser will give you an error message, but that's okay, don't worry. To establish secure connection, panel uses self-signed certificate, which browser considers not trusted. Simply click Advanced and then continue to panel's IP address. Username and password are the same as we've put before. Eventually, you will see a familiar page. Network settings look identical to what we've said before, except it's on a bigger screen. So what else can we change here? On the Localization tab, you can change system language, although it has nothing to do with the languages we have in Panel Builder. On the System tab, you can find some useful info like panel serial number, RAM and CPU usage, as well as backlight and system uptime timers. Logs tab may contain some log files if persistent log is enabled. Date and time, as the name suggests, could be used to set panel's real-time clock. If panel has internet connection, or if you have time server in your local network, you can enable automatic clock update through NTP protocol. By enabling Accept NTP Requests option, you practically turn the panel itself into NTP server. Security tab doesn't hold anything interesting right now. In Application tab, you install additional apps to a panel. The best example of such app could be Chromium browser, which practically turns HMI panel to a web panel. Services is probably single most important tab throughout the whole system settings. Let's go over what's available. First one allows panel to execute scripts placed on USB stick or SD card the moment they attach to the panel. On one hand, this makes possible things like project update through USB stick, reset to factory settings, apps installation, etc. On the other hand, if panel's physical ports are not protected, this could be potential exploit. So it's up to you to decide whether leave it on or off. Avahi daemon lets your panel be addressed by a hostname rather than IP address. Bridge service could be used to couple two selected Ethernet interface into a bridge. Here ETH0 and ETH1 are selected to be bridged. It means that those interfaces will have the same IP address and behave very much like an Ethernet switch. Panel can be DHCP server itself. You can enable it separately for every Ethernet interface and then set IP settings and lease time. There is option to disable tap menu, which we've used before. And as with the script autorun option, it's a double-edged sword. So be careful if you disable both tap menu and script autorun option. There will be no way to reset panel back to factory settings. What else do we have? There is a firewall service where you can whitelist specific connections. Then there is a router service which can help set up IP routing between available Ethernet interfaces. And then there are SNMP server, makes panel visible in network asset management tools. SSH server provides remote command line interface to the panel. VNC server and web server for remote access. We'll talk about them in the next chapter. In management section, you can update components of panel's operating system and replace splash screen image, which panel shows when it starts up. Display tab could be useful to set up things like screen brightness, backlight switch off, timeout, color shift, as well as screen orientation. If you choose to develop your user interface in vertical orientation, all the system menus should follow, and that's where you can change it. I think fonts tab is not that important, but if you're into such thing, you can load your own fonts to the panel. Authentication tab allows you change passwords for user and admin, as well as manage installed public key certificate. Restart tab does exactly what it says, restarts panel, and that's all available options. Okay, now that we've set up the IP address, we can download the project. Go to Run, Download to Target, select the panel from the drop-down list and hit Download. And this time, instead of starting download right away, it asks us to install Runtime because the panel doesn't have one. What is the Runtime, I hear you ask? So, panel is running on Linux OS. That system menu is just the web interface to different services in operating system. Now, the project we have created in Panel Builder cannot run on Linux by itself. It needs additional software which interprets and executes it. And this software is called HMI Runtime. So when you press the button Install Runtime, Manage Target window will open and software will start doing some checks and eventually transferring Runtime app. If you run into requests to enter login and password, just put admin and the password you've set before. In my case, it doesn't ask for any password because I gave my password before and Panel Builder saved it in the project. Once the window is closed, process will continue on the panel and in few seconds we'll see our project running on the device. There is another way to change panel's IP address through the HMI application. There is this network adapter widget located in control folder of the basics section of the widget gallery. After some visual makeover, it looks like this on the settings page. I've also added a way to get to the system settings through this button. The button, when it's pressed, executes context menu action. It's better to show what the context menu is, but before jumping to the panel, I want to show you this runtime property context menu. So when it is set to on action, it will only work from a button or other widget which calls the action. If I set it to on delay, then on the panel, if I press anywhere on the screen, it will show me this menu. If I change the property back to on action, pressing anywhere on the screen won't work. I will have to log in, unlock the button, and it will show the context menu. In the menu itself, tap on Show System Settings, put admin login and password, and you'll end up in already familiar place. Exit the settings and it will bring you back to the same page. What else could be useful in the context menu? Maybe Project Manager. I should explain one thing here. Panel can have multiple projects at the same time, but only one of them active. So Project Manager gives us ability to switch between downloaded projects on the fly. Here I have only one, but I still can unload it. This action will switch HMI runtime into configuration mode. If I select the project again, I have options to delete it or load it again, which brings us back to the UI. You can do the same from Panel Builder. If you go to Run, Manage Target, we've already seen this window during runtime installation. You can click Retrieve Projects and software will show you the list of projects downloaded to the panel. There is still only one. We can unload this project, delete it, or upload it back to the PC, which sometimes could be a life-saving option. Update Package brings up additional pop-up, which helps to generate files and folders for USB drive. And then, if you insert this USB drive into a panel, you can update runtime, download project, copy additional files, etc. without having direct connection to a panel. There is a dedicated button to update just the Runtime app. Reset Target button speaks for itself. Download system files button is used if you have changed any settings in target setup menu. Alright, I'm done for today. See you guys in the next one.